Thank you. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you, Rose, for that nice introduction. Thank you for your leadership as the 2021 chair of the Tulsa Chamber. I also want to welcome Kevin Gross, the chair-elect for 2022. And we also like to recognize Tulsa's very own, my good friend, Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell. He is doing a fantastic job, and I also want to especially recognize the Secretary of State, the pride of Sapulpa, Oklahoma, Brian Bingman, wherever he's at. And some of my friends in the National Guard, we have Brigadier General Tommy Mancino, an Assistant Adjunct General with the Army, and Brigadier General Trey Siegfried is in the house, so I want to welcome them. Thank you guys so much for your service to Oklahoma. And from our federal delegation, we have my good friend, Representative Kevin Hearn, with us. Thank you so much for your effort and support and protecting Oklahoma values in Washington, D.C. You do a fantastic job, Congressman Hearn. And to all of my friends here today, it's so good to be with you this afternoon. It's always good to be back in T-Town, my home for the last 21 years. You know, the business and community leaders that are here today, it's so important that you're engaged in what's going on at the state capitol. So thank you for being here. Thank you all for your commitment to making Oklahoma and Tulsa the greatest city and the greatest state in America. Because of you, Oklahoma is becoming a top 10 state. This city has some major events and announcement this year. Tulsa just hosted its inaugural Ironman competition in May. It brought about 2,000 athletes and $10 million to the local economy. In January, the PGA of America approved Southern Hills as the site of the 2022 PGA Championship. And I was thrilled to help recruit Canoe, an electric vehicle manufacturing company, move from California to the Tulsa area. Canoe's factory will open up in 2023, and they're going to bring 2,000 jobs to our state. This is a huge win for Oklahoma. And I could not have done it without our Secretary of Commerce and Workforce Development, Scott Mueller. He is truly doing a fantastic job. You know, Canoe's CEO, Tony Aquila, he told me that he chose Oklahoma over other states because he wanted to be where the puck is heading, not where the puck was now. And Oklahoma is becoming the place to locate and build your business because of our pro-growth, pro-business, and pro-freedom policies. But there's one more person who deserves some credit here. I want to thank Oklahoma's Economic Developer of the Year, California Governor Gavin Newsom. California's liberal policies and endless regulations have made Oklahoma ground zero for business CEOs. So thank you, Gavin. And to all other shutdown states, Oklahoma is open for business. You know, as governor, my mission is to make Oklahoma the most business-friendly state in the country. And it gives me great pleasure to tell you something not a lot of other governors can do right now, certainly not Governor Newsom. Our state's economy is thriving. We even have a budget surplus this year. And that is because of the decisions we've made over the last 18 months. You know, our decision to fully reopen our economy last June, one of the first states in the nation to do so, made it possible for Oklahoma to have the largest savings account in our history at $1.8 billion. And because of that, we were able to give money back to the taxpayers in the form of tax cuts. both for individuals and businesses, while restoring the earned income tax credit for the working poor. And because of that, we now have the 7th lowest tax burden in the entire nation. The domino effect of that goes on and on. Our unemployment is the 8th lowest in the entire nation. And did you know CNBC ranks Oklahoma as the #1 cost of doing business state? To me, those decisions are keeping Williams and Quick Trip and American Airlines right here in Tulsa. Those decisions encourage others to look at Tulsa and say, we have to move there. And I'm not going to take my foot off the gas. I will always do what's right for Oklahoma. And now, as the governor of the sovereign state of Oklahoma, it's my job to discuss the most pressing issue we're facing as a state. By now, most of you are familiar with last year's Supreme Court decision in the Mcgirt case. I warned about that last year when I was here and spoke to you. The court ruled that for the purposes of the Major Crimes Act, the Indian reservations were never disestablished. And I've said from the beginning that ruling creates uncertainty in our state. It threatens Oklahoma's sovereignty and creates a public safety nightmare for victims and law enforcement. But there's good news to share. I recently appointed John O'Connor as Oklahoma's Attorney General. John is a Tulsa native. He has 40 years of experience in the field of law. I've personally known John for the last 20 years. He's been married to his wife, Lucia, for 43 years. They have 4 children and 10 grandchildren. I appointed John because I know his heart. He's a man of integrity, a man of faith, a great community leader. John is the right man at the right time, and he will protect Oklahoma's values and fight back against the Biden administration's overreach. Let's give John O'Connor a round of applause. He's in the house. A few weeks ago, we received fantastic news for crime victims in Oklahoma. On August 12th, the Court of Criminal Appeals unanimously ruled that Mcgirt does not apply to convictions retroactively. So in other words, we do not have to vacate thousands of convictions. Well, this was a major victory. Mcgirt remains a threat to the future of our state. There are still so many questions that need to be answered. For example, consider this. If an Oklahoman with Native heritage gets their car stolen here in downtown Tulsa, did you know that Tulsa County District Attorney Steve Kunzweiler cannot prosecute that case? It's even unclear if the Tulsa police have the authority to make that arrest, all because of someone's race. That is not equal protection under the law. Let me share another story. A small business owner, he wrote into my office. His shop was hit by 2 known meth addicts. The criminals did thousands of dollars of damage to his store. When the case was brought to the county court, since one of the perpetrators had Native heritage, the court ruled it did not have jurisdiction, citing the Mcgirt decision. This is not justice. Attorney General O'Connor has hired national counsel to overturn the Mcgirt ruling completely. And let me be clear, when we say overturn the Mcgirt ruling, what we are seeking is the complete restoration of Oklahoma's sovereignty, the way we've all known it for the last 114 years. One of the most basic functions of a state in the United States of America is the ability to enforce the rule of law. If we cannot do that, then there is no state. And sitting here today, Oklahoma does not have that ability. This fight over who has authority to regulate law and order, it affects all of us. This is where we live. This is where we've raised our families and started our businesses, going back generations. Right now, there are thousands of Oklahomans with Native heritage who are filing their taxes and checking a box alleging that they don't live in the state of Oklahoma to avoid paying state income tax. But we all drive on the same roads. We all send our kids to the same public schools. This is not an issue of Tribes versus Kevin Stitt. This is a fundamental issue of the sovereignty of a state in the United States of America. This is an issue of fairness, of justice, and equal protection under the law. And I will never give up fighting for what I know is right, and that is stand up to protect and keep one Oklahoma. It's clear that Mcgirt is a challenge for our state. But let me turn to where we are getting it right. I want to highlight some new growing Oklahoma industries. Our film industry, energy, automobile, manufacturing, and aerospace. By now, you've heard of the movies Reagan, Minari, Stillwater, and Killers of the Flower Moon. All of those were filmed and produced in Oklahoma. We have built a thriving film industry in this state, bringing top talent to Oklahoma. And that is thanks in part to the Filmed in Oklahoma Act, which I signed this year. It creates a new film tax incentive to attract more productions to our state. I look forward to seeing this booming industry continuing to expand. You know, many of you know I am a fourth-generation Oklahoman. Oil and gas is an industry that we take great pride in for generations. We're actually ranked number 6th in the nation for oil production and 4th in gas. People who aren't from here just don't get it. When I saw the president beg the OPEC cartel to produce more oil after snubbing oil-producing states like Oklahoma, I was furious. Energy independence has been a goal of every president, Republican and Democrat, since the 1973 OPEC embargo, when Richard Nixon launched Project Independence. So I have a message for the president. Do not turn your back on us. Oklahoma has companies, rigs, and workers ready to drill here in Oklahoma. At the same time, Oklahoma has been trying to diversify our economy for years. My administration is embracing an all-of-the-above approach. From the very beginning, we have made clear this is not about renewables versus traditional fossil energy. In fact, Oklahoma is ranked 2nd nationally in wind energy production. And we're one of only 4 states that generates more power from renewables. Our magical mix has resulted in the lowest electricity cost of any state in the entire country. That's a huge advantage for commerce when we go to recruit jobs. It has also resulted in reduced carbon dioxide at 3 times the national average. Oklahoma, we have some of the cleanest air and cleanest water in the entire country. And while other states are bragging about setting energy goals, we've already accomplished them here in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is the energy capital of the world, and I intend to keep it that way. You know, this year's winter storm, it hit the Midwest really hard. But Oklahoma never experienced the blackouts like they did down in Texas. And that's why it's so important that we can't rely on one source. We have to diversify our grid. And as we begin to wrap this up, I want to tell you about my favorite story as governor and why I'm so grateful to be governor here in America. You know, last year, when some of the states were shut down, the governor of Colorado had shut his state down. And this company called Cattlemen's Congress, it was actually the largest cattle show in the entire country. It had been holding their show in Colorado for over 100 years. They couldn't hold their show that year. So thanks to the legislature allowing me to use some of the governor's closing fund, I took $250,000 and recruited this company to come have their show in Oklahoma. And it was 17 days of hotels, restaurants filled. Cattlemen's Congress has officially left Colorado and decided to move Oklahoma full time. Well, the governor of Colorado did something I thought was kind of strange. He went out and he declared a meatless holiday right after that. So I was obviously trying to throw gas on that fire and recruit more ag companies to the state of Oklahoma. So I went out and snapped back and I declared meat all week in the state of Oklahoma. Well, this organization named PETA, they did not like that very much, and so they rented a billboard in South Oklahoma City and called me Governor Meathead Stitt, Go Vegan for Life. So my team came and showed that to me, and I saw it, and I was like, yes. They don't know my friends in Oklahoma very well. So I got the biggest smoker that I could find. I put it up underneath that sign. Cattlemen's Association donated steaks and hot dogs and hamburgers, and I got on the radio in Oklahoma City, and I invited everybody to come over, and I grilled out hamburgers and steaks underneath that PETA sign in Oklahoma City. And you know what? We did it in good fun. They were poking fun at us, and we were poking fun back at them, and the media came up and asked me a question. They said, Governor, what would you say if somebody wanted to be a vegan? And I said, I would say, hey, if you want to be a vegan, be a vegan. Just don't tell everybody else that they can't have a hamburger. And I guess that's the moral of that story. In Oklahoma, we believe in freedoms. Whether you're a vegan or you eat a steak, it doesn't matter here. We live in the freest country in the world. The freedoms we enjoy here in America, they're unique. We've got freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to start a business. Other countries do not have those same freedoms. For the last few weeks, we have been watching the situation in Afghanistan worsen by the hour. In real time, we are witnessing freedom and democracy slip from Afghanistan's fingers. The images are stunning. Desperate Afghans holding on to military planes, literally for dear life. We've seen mothers passing their babies to soldiers. Imagine that for a moment, making the decision as a parent that your child's best chance at safety, at a life with freedom, is giving them away to a stranger. I know it's been especially painful for Oklahomans who have ties to our military. My heart goes out to the 49 Oklahoma Gold Star families who lost loved ones while serving in Afghanistan. The lack of leadership in this time of crisis is really disheartening. The Biden administration is now taking its orders from a terrorist organization. It's really difficult to watch, and it also has hardened my resolve as Oklahoma's governor, because there is nothing more precious or more fragile than our freedom. Our founding document assured 3 unalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What is liberty? You know, Oxford defines liberty as the state of being free within society from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, or political views. And I ask you this, is there ever a time when freedom must be sacrificed? Maybe public safety, public health, majority viewpoint? Today, some leaders of cities and states in America are saying yes. But this is deeply troubling to me, because today, you might find yourself agreeing with or not even really caring about a few extra mandates. But tomorrow, you may disagree. Freedom is about protecting the minority's viewpoint. It's troubling there are governors in other states who believe in sacrificing freedoms by mandating and controlling their citizens. Let me tell you, bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. don't know what's best for us. And let me assure you, I will always trust Oklahomans to do the right thing. And as governor, I will never sacrifice our individual liberties for any price. That's why people are choosing to come to Oklahoma. They come to chase opportunity. Here in Oklahoma, we give everyone the opportunity to pursue their happiness. I meet people from all over our state, rural Oklahoma, urban Oklahoma, who end up telling me their story. A small business owner who was the first person in their family to go to college. An engineer at American Airlines who immigrated here from another country. They attribute their success to their hard work, but also the opportunity we have here in America. And let me tell you today, the American dream is alive and well. And nowhere in the world is the American dream more alive than right here in Oklahoma. As your governor, I pledge to always protect your life, your liberty, and your pursuit of happiness. Thank you guys so much for having me here today. And I'll leave you with this. I'm so proud to be an American, but I thank God every day that I was raised in Oklahoma. God bless you.